All right, my friends, how are you today? Aaron here bringing you some astrotheology. All right, today is the 3rd of June, 2020. We have a Venus and Sun connection, a conjunction happening in the sign of Gemini. We're just 2 days away from a lunar eclipse kicking off the summer eclipse season this year. And the fact that we're in Gemini, we're talking about information and information coming into light that allows us to create change, necessary change in our lives. That is absolutely necessary. And as we're moving into the age of Aquarius, we're already in it, but we're continuing to continue the expansion and growth into this age, as this is all going to continue to happen over the next couple of years as Saturn enters Aquarius fully in December, as Jupiter enters Aquarius fully in December, as Pluto is going to enter Aquarius in 2024. You know, we're in these like birthing process steps, and we're moving out of the age of Pisces, right? Which is about I believe in the unknown. And we're moving into Aquarius, which is I know, right? In the technological digital revolution, right? We didn't have things like this, the internet, where we could broadcast ourselves and share this knowledge and these stories like we do now. You know, this technology wasn't available until recently. So the knowledge at our fingertips wasn't always there. So it was very difficult to get this kind of knowledge that I'm going to share with you right now. And this is us taking the steps from belief into knowing, right? And where are we really, and what did some of these stories that our ancients and ancestors shared with us, what did they really mean? To me, when I look at astrology, one of the biggest things about astrology is astrotheology, or cosmobiology. It's understanding the theology or the religion that's involved, as the planets and the constellations, the stars were the story map, or the only storybook that our ancestors had at one point in time. So they gave these stars and these planets, planet means wanderer in Greek, because the stars are fixed and the planets actually move between the stars. So they recognized these celestial bodies, these planets, these wanderers, and they gave them names, personifications, you know, anthropomorphized. They gave them characters and names and storylines, you know, just like Hercules and his 12 legions. This is the story of the sun moving throughout the 12 constellations, right? And now, you know, here we are in the age of Pisces, where we were in the age of Pisces, which is the two fish. Okay, Pisces represents the two fish, and we can often see in the New Testament with Jesus in the Bible, you know, he fed everyone with a loaf of bread and two fish, and John the fisherman and the fisherman brothers. You know, it's a story essentially about the sun, Jesus, the sun, the 12 disciples, okay, are the 12 constellations. Now, when we talk about Venus, okay, this is interesting. All right, when we talk about the sun in theology, we're talking about Jesus, okay, and the Christian belief. And again, this is 2,000 years of the telephone game that has gone to where we don't know what's what, and now we have a collective understanding of knowledge that we're being able to figure out more precisely what all of this was understanding, right? Easter is the equinox, winter solstice here, the death of the sun, the 25th is the rising of the sun again. Well, when we're coming here to this Venus-Sun conjunction, it's very interesting. One of the first things I want to pick up and talk about is this right here. I've got a couple things pulled up. And it's the word Lucifer, okay, which is only presented in the Bible 4 times. The rest gets really mixed up between the devil, quote unquote, and Satan. Okay, these are 3 different words, 3 different names, 3 different meanings that all get kind of jumbled into the same thing. Lucifer, light bringer, corresponding to the Greek name, whatever that says, dawn bringer, okay? For the same planet, is a Latin name for the planet Venus in its morning appearance, and is often used for the mythological and religious figures associated with the planet. Okay, that's extremely important. Lucifer, by definition, Greek and Latin, means light bringer. Okay, and also represents morning star. Now, we've seen this old biblical verse, you know, morning star, how you've fallen from the heavens. Let me see if I can actually pull that verse up real quick. That's one thing I didn't do, because there's an important message in there. I believe it's Isaiah 14 something. Give me 1 second. Oh, I didn't realize I was on that page. Here we go. It's the last part of this verse which is particularly interesting. Okay. Oh, how you've fallen from heaven, O shining star, son of the morning. Okay, we're speaking of Venus, Venus being the morning star. And during this time when the sun passes Venus, this is when Venus goes from the evening star to the morning star, or the morning star to the evening star. Okay, and I talked about that in today's astrology video. So now Venus, again, representing everything that we love, want, and desire. Okay. So these are all the same verse, but they just say different things. So here you go. New King James Version. Oh, how you fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning. Okay, so we're talking about morning star. Lucifer, light bringer. Now we're talking about the planet Venus here. We're not talking about a deity or a human figure. We're talking about a personification of a planet. Okay, a character that we've given. Character traits that we've given to a planet. All right, how you are cut down to the ground, you who weakened the nations. Okay, now, cut down to the ground, what does this mean? Right there, we're talking about what's happening right now. We're going from the morning star to the evening star, or backward from the evening star to the morning star. In this case, we're going from the morning star to the evening star. Okay, you who have weakened the nations. This is important. Now, when we're talking about Venus here, we're talking about our planet of love, wants, desires. Okay. The things that we appreciate, the things that we value, as Venus also deals with money, material goods, material possessions, dollar bills, those greenbacks, okay? And when we have this verse, you who have weakened the nations, okay? Now, let's also talk about Saturn. Saturn, in ancient times, is known as Satan. This is the law, the father of time, law, karma, limits. Okay, it was the farthest wandering planet that our human eyes could see. So we have the centermost, which is the sun, and the furthermost, which is Saturn. According to back then, it's as far as we could see. We had no understanding of Uranus, of Neptune, of Pluto, of Eris, these further way out there planets. Now, we didn't even discover Eris until 2016. It's still a coin toss if it's an official planet or not. Is this planet X? Either way, that's a whole other topic. I've actually put an Eris video out there if you are curious about that. But we're talking about Venus right now. We're talking about Saturn. We're understanding the theology behind some of these Bible verses and some of this stuff that's going on. And it says, Jesus turns to Peter and says, "Get behind me, Satan." Okay, Satan meaning Saturn. Saturn, the laws of physical reality. Okay, laws of physical reality. Now, when we have our planet of love, wants, and desires, Venus, okay, this can be lust, this can be sexual desire, this can be drinking. I want booze, I want alcohol. My desires can get the better of me. We're tempted by Satan, we're tempted by the devil, we're tempted by Lucifer, right? It's bringing that apple, it's bringing, here's this thing of temptation, and it's up to you if your earthly desires, are you going to be tempted by your earthly delights? This passions for these earthly material goods. These earthly material goods, again, our desires are represented by the planet Venus. These are all metaphors, okay? Now, Saturn dealing with the law and the physical realm. When we're dealing with the non-physical, which is going to be this Pisces, Neptunian kind of thing, okay? When we're dealing with the non-physical, we obviously don't have carrots or cake to choose from. We don't have sobriety or drinking to choose from. We don't have sexual lust or abstinence to choose from, okay? Which is why oftentimes you see like the clergy, are abstinent. They're not divulging in, they're not consuming their sexual appetites, okay? it's one of the only things, as far as I'm concerned, personal opinion, it's one of the only things that actually makes sense, is like sex between two people. It's like these two pieces fit together like Lego parts. It's personal opinion. However we choose to do it, it's up, it's up to us in our own particular lives. But denying oneself of something that is so very natural only leads to, pinched hose and outbreaks and other ends. Okay. So, this get behind me, Satan, it's like that's the sun. That's the sun passing Saturn. Just as if the sun is passing Lucifer here, the light bringer, right? Because at this point, when the sun is about to come up, Venus is the brightest star in the sky. Then the sun is going to pass. It's going into tomorrow. The sun is now past Venus. Venus is now the brightest star in the sky. Okay. So this is just a planetary alignment. Now, the Egyptians didn't realize that these are two different things. Same with back in, the Bible days. They didn't realize these were two different planets, the morning star, the evening star, okay? Or they didn't realize they were the same thing. They were recognized as two different things. Now, let's get into some, the pentagram of Venus here. Now, this is from another person's YouTube page, Topaz84. Okay, Earth, Venus. Let's just watch this for a quick second. Oh, of course. Play. Oh, well, the idea is these two, okay, every 8 Earth years is 13 Venus years, and these two go around the sun being right here. What is going on? Here, I'll just do it manually. Okay, and where these two line up over this time, okay, 13 Venus years, 8 Earth years, and every time they make this conjunction like they're doing today, it forms a point in the sky, all right, and it continuously forms this 5-pointed star around the sun. Okay, so the relationship between Earth and Venus is extremely powerful, extremely potent. And again, we're talking about the Fibonacci sequence, the Fibonacci numbers, 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 8, or 13, 8, they line up 5 times. Okay, this is the golden ratio, golden spiral to life. This is something you see in a sunflower seed or an acorn, a golden mathematical ratio to our existence. All right, and it's very peculiar how these two planets form this particular geometric shape around the sun. Okay, and Venus being everything we want, love, and desire. Something to look at when we're talking about this pentagram is when we look at the top of the pentagram, this is about our spirituality. Okay, this is our connection with source energy, God, or the oneness, whatever you want to say. Okay, and this is earth, water, wind, and fire, the 4 elements. The elements of earth. You see what I'm saying here? So we're talking again about earthly delights, earthly pleasures. So when we're putting this star upside down, okay, first when we're putting it upside right, what we're saying is I'm putting my connection with source energy above my desire for earthly delights, earthly pleasures. Now when I'm putting it upside down, as we see sometimes, what this is saying is I am indulging in my personal desires and the things that satisfy me. My temptations, I'm going to allow to rule my life, and those are more important to me than my source connection, my connection with source, my connection with my own spirituality. Okay? So that's one part of this. Now, again, Venus being all that we love, want, and desire, and Saturn itself, let me come back here, Saturn being the laws of this physical world. So do you see how these two kind of play in that whole like Garden of Eden thing? Again, I'm offering you your temptations because we are ruled by Saturn. All of us here, houses 1 through 10, we are ruled by the laws, the physical laws of nature, of Saturn. We all feel physical pain. We all deal with karma. We all deal with you know, again, if you're a good or a bad person, doesn't matter. You jump out of a building, you know, you're going to die. It doesn't matter if you're a good or bad person. The laws of time, you know, we have a finite number of days on this planet, okay, as well as Saturn dealing with physical laws, physical nature, things, you know. Okay, let me come back here for a quick second. In ancient astrology, Saturn and Capricorn was known as reality, this physical world. Neptune, okay, and Pisces was known as the dream or the illusion. We have this new concept in modern astrology, all right, that Neptune and Pisces is reality, and Saturn and Capricorn is the illusion that reality exists. Now we can kind of tie in this with quantum physics, quantum mechanics, that there is no reality without mind entering into it first. Okay, it's really, really important when we come to think about that. You know, my perspective of reality is everything. And the fact that Saturnian stuff deals with physical things, a fork, a lens cap, a cup of water, whatever it is, as well as my physical being, we're tempted by physical things, physical nature. And when we're only a product of our environment, we're only seeing these things here. You know, it's taking that leap of faith, that Aquarian kind of nature, that Uranus nature of being able to see beyond what's our environment. Okay, so again, we're talking about physical things here and desires. This is where Saturn and Venus are ruling off or coming into, you know, this connection with one another, and they're getting a bad rap as Saturnian being this physical world, meaning you're a person that is obsessed with physical nature, physical things, you know, physical touch. This could be, you know, Venus as well, this physical touch, physical desires. And when we have Jupiter coming in, this is about an abundance of things. So when we have our desires, physical reality, Saturn, and when we have an abundance, Mars is our planet of action, receiving these things. Too much sex, we can have, you know, issues with that, or diseases. Too much food, gluttonous food, we can, you know, have respiratory issues, you know, blood problems, or diabetes, things like that. Too much television, you know, too much of anything, an overabundance of anything in this physical world without putting ourselves and our connecting with source, we get off balance. Okay, so this is a reminding us to stay on balance, this connection with Venus and Earth, or the Sun-Venus conjunction that's going on, right? So this is a beautiful dance that's going on. We're getting ready for this eclipse, which is about knowing. Okay, so part of this is about that. We're getting ready to explain to the world here the foundation that we have based our entire theology, religious concepts on, is not the whole truth. It's a half truth. Okay, so the Bible and the Quran, and these are all full of absolutely beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stories to allow us to live a proper, good life as far as moral and ethical compass. But as far as the reality, the concrete reality of what's what, we're talking a lot about the planets. We're talking a lot about the sun. And it's time for us to start sharing this information to where we can get a better grip onto us knowing and where we're going, right? And for us to make that connection back to self, back to source energy, okay? And allowing ourselves to make sure that we're keeping our star, our pentagram, right? We're a 5-point star, head at the top, arms out to the side, feet down to the bottom, right? So that we're putting our star first, and we're putting our connection with source energy first over our need or desires for earthly goods and earthly pleasures and earthly delights, right? So that's a little glimpse of what's going on today. It's a little glimpse of what's going on in general. All right, and again, this eclipse is going to be highlighting and putting in our face information that may jar us. You know, people might not like this information because, again, it's like, well, and I've been raised in the church and I was raised this way and to believe this and this and this and this. And it's just like when you're told Santa Claus isn't real, you know it's ultimate truth. We understand that that is ultimate truth. And this is the axis of Sagittarius and Gemini. What is ultimate truth and what is a story? Okay, so we're moving into ultimate truth here, and time to spark that fire and pass it on. All right, my friends, have a beautiful day connecting with your highest self, connecting with that source energy. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for hanging out with me.